Fitness can be frustrating. You go to the gym, you're surrounded by sweaty, musty people. You feel embarrassed because you don't know what you're doing, so you go on YouTube and you look up tips for fitness, and everyone's telling you to do something different, so you keep switching up your routine and you end up seeing absolutely no progress. You get discouraged and you quit. If that sounds familiar to you, then you've come to the right place, because in this video, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about how to build your dream body in 2025 and beyond. That said, the first step to building your dream body is having a dream body. You need to set a definitive goal and you need to stick to it. So, generally speaking, if you are going to the gym, if you're working out consistently, you have one of two goals. The first goal is to gain weight. In my case, that was my goal. I had the goal of gaining weight, and in particular, muscle mass. The second goal is losing weight. If you're maybe overweight, if you weigh more than you would like to, then this is likely your goal. You're going to want to lose weight, generally fat, while also at the same time building muscle mass. So building muscle is pretty much the common denominator between anybody's dream body or their goal for their dream body. Now, whether you want to build muscle and lose fat, or build muscle and just build muscle because you don't have any fat to begin with, like me when I first started off, this video is going to help you do that. Now, once you've established your goal based on where you are right now and where you want to go, you need to start tracking your calories. It took me a very long time to come to this realization, or rather to come to terms with the reality that if you don't track your calories, you're never going to get the body that you want. Because if you're not tracking your calories, you're literally just guessing. If you don't know how many calories you're putting into your body, and you don't know how many grams of protein that you're putting into your body on a day-to-day basis or on a meal-to-meal basis, how can you generate predictable results? You can't. Now here's the thing, I know that tracking your calories can seem very overwhelming at first, but what I would suggest is that you go ahead and download an app on your phone. Literally any calorie tracking app should do. Just get the one that seems the most appealing to you and start tracking everything that you eat. And what you'll come to realize in the next few weeks as you begin to do this is that you really eat the same few things over and over and over again. And especially if you're dieting, if you're eating for your goal, you're not going to be eating as wide of a range of foods as you once did because you're eating for your goals rather than for pleasure. This is not to say that they're mutually exclusive, but in other words, tracking calories is much more simple than you think it is. Basically, if you want to gain weight, if you want to gain muscle like I did, so if you're underweight and you want to build muscle mass, what you want to do is you want to be in a caloric surplus of 500. So you want to figure out your maintenance calories, your maintenance caloric level, which is basically how many calories you need to consume to maintain your current body weight. The chances are you're already eating that many calories intuitively because that's what your body wants you to do. And you want to add around 500 calories to that number. So let's say your maintenance is 2,500 calories based on your height, weight, and age, and activity level, which the app that you download should have you do. It should have you enter all of this information in. You want to add 500 to that, and that is how many calories you need to consume. And vice versa for if you want to lose weight. You want to take your maintenance caloric level and you want to subtract 500 from it, and that's how many calories you should be consuming per day. And in addition to tracking your calories, you need to start tracking your protein, because this right here is absolutely critical, maybe even more critical when it comes to building muscle than tracking your calories, because you can actually still build muscle without being in a caloric surplus. It'll just take much longer. But if you're not getting enough protein, you're not going to build muscle, plain and simple. You can put on a lot of fat, you can put on a lot of weight, but you will not put on muscle. So how much protein do you need to be consuming? Once again, it correlates with your body weight. So take your body weight and multiply it by 1. Your body weight in pounds, that is. Take your body weight in pounds, multiply that number by 1. So if you weigh 180 pounds, multiply that by 1. That is how many grams of protein you need to be consuming per day. So if you weigh 180 pounds, get 180 grams of protein. And I know it might seem a little bit overwhelming, but between protein shakes and more protein shakes, meat, if you're not vegan like I am, you should be able to get that much protein fairly easily. If I can get that much protein as a vegan, okay, I think I average closer to 200 grams a day actually, and I weigh around 174. You can do it. I assure you that you can get that much protein in per day. Now, some scientific studies show that you only need 0.64 grams of protein per pound of body weight, but most of the people conducting those scientific studies don't have your dream body. Everybody who has my dream body says that you need to get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So those are the people that I'm going to listen to, and I would suggest that those are the people that you should listen to as well. Aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. Now, you can get all the protein in the world and you can be in a caloric surplus or caloric deficit depending on what your goal is, and you can still not see results simply because you're not doing the right kinds of movements. So if you want to build your dream body, you're not going to get your dream body on the elliptical or on the rowing machine or on the treadmill. More often than not, depending on what your goal is. But if you clicked on this video, I'm going to assume that your dream body is somewhat similar to the body that I have. I didn't get my body on the treadmill. I didn't get my body from doing cardio. I got my body from resistance training. So you need to lift weights. Plain and simple. You need to lift weights. You can do calisthenics, but if you're going to do calisthenics, you have to add weight to the calisthenics. So if you're going to do pull-ups and dips, you need to add weight to the pull-ups and dips. That is something that I've been doing for the past couple of years with great results to show for it. Now, in order to simplify this, let me go ahead and break this down by body part. And if you want a full workout video for each and every body part that I work out, I can do that. But don't tell me in the comments, show me with the viewership. Get this video to 10,000 views and I'll give you a full workout routine for each and every body part. But for now, know this. Your chest, your back, and your legs, more often than not, will respond the best to compound movements. Compound movements. What are compound movements? Compound movements are any movements that involve multiple joints. So for example, a squat, that is a compound movement because you're bending your hips and you're bending your knees to complete the movement. A bicep curl, on the other hand, is not a compound movement because you're only bending at the elbow. So to simplify it for you, bench press, dips, pull-ups, squats, deadlifts, those are compound movements. If you do those, you will see tremendous growth in your chest, your back, and your legs. The reason why is because these are larger muscle groups, and larger muscle groups need more weight, more stimulus. And also on top of that, by doing compound movements with free weights, not the machines, you can do the machines as well, but don't make them the core of your workout, you are going to develop absolutely disgusting raw strength. So focus on the compound movements for those muscle groups. For your arms and your shoulders, you want to focus on the isolation movements. This is a lesson that it took me a long time, much longer than I'd like to admit, to learn. Is that your arms don't grow the same way as your chest and your back because more often than not, especially if you've been lifting already for a little while, your chest and your back will simply take over the movements if they're involved. So let's say, for example, with a weighted pull-up, even if you do a weighted chin-up, that will emphasize your biceps more, but ultimately your back is going to take over because it is much stronger. It's a much stronger muscle group and your body tends to work in the most efficient way that it possibly can. So you need to integrate isolation movements for your arms. A bicep curl, specifically either a strict bicep curl or a preacher curl, is a great place to start for your biceps. And a skull crusher, lying down on the bench, a skull crusher is a great place to start for your triceps. And like I said, I can go much more in depth into each and every muscle group and how to build an aesthetic body such that you can focus on the highest leverage muscle groups. I can make a whole separate video about that if you show me that you want to see that by making this video do well. But for now, understand that your arms, as well as your shoulders, especially the side delt, so the part that makes you look wider from the front, all of that is going to respond much better to isolation movements where you are removing the influence of your chest and your back from the movements and your legs. And this also means that you need to focus on strict form, which is why I recommended a strict curl with your back up against the wall, a preacher curl with your arms on the preacher bench thing, and a skull crusher where your back is up against the bench. That way, you can't use your stronger muscle groups. You have to rely on your arms. And like I said, if you've been lifting for a while, this will be a very humbling experience for you. I know it has been for me, but you will start to see results that you have never previously seen, unless you are not implementing this next principle, which is progressive overload. Progressive overload is the key to growing muscle. Once again, your body generally tries to be as efficient as it possibly can be. And more often than not, having a whole bunch of muscle is not very efficient for your body, which is why if you stop lifting, your body will get rid of all of the muscle that you've built. It's because that's not your natural state. In order to force your muscles to grow, you have to give your body a definitive reason to make them grow. So we've already covered the resources, which is the protein and the calories, but now you need to give your body a reason to grow. Otherwise, it's just going to discard all of the protein and the calories are just going to turn into extra fat. And you're going to gain weight, but you're not going to look the way that you want. Or you're going to lose weight, but you're not going to look the way that you want. You have to progressively overload, meaning that for every single exercise that you do, every single one of them, whether it be an isolation or a compound movement, you have to continuously increase the weight. You can increase the reps as well, but it's much less efficient to do it that way because it adds extra time to your workout. So I would advise you to focus on increasing the weight. Increase the weight slowly but surely. You don't have to jump up 20 pounds at a time, but increase the weight as you go. And basically, a good way to track this is if your workouts are getting easier for you, you're not progressing. Your workouts should never get easier. They shouldn't necessarily get that much harder either, but I have noticed that the more weight you add, even relatively speaking, relative to your strength level, the harder the workouts do feel and the more taxing and fatiguing they are. So that is something to keep in mind, is that the heavier you're lifting, the more dialed in your nutrition has to be and your rest and recovery, which is the next thing that you need to prioritize in order to get the results that you want. Because your muscles are broken down in the gym or at the park, wherever you choose to work out, even at home. Your muscles are broken down during the workout, but they're built when you're recovering. So you have to prioritize your rest and recovery. What does this mean? This means that for one, you need to get enough sleep every night. Now, enough sleep is relative to you. You know what enough sleep is for you. What I would advise you to do is aim for at least 7 hours of sleep per night. For most people, that should cut it. But if you know that you need more, you need to start making time to sleep more. And that might mean that you need to sacrifice a few social outings. That might mean that you need to sacrifice that extra episode of that Netflix show that you're watching. But you're going to have to make sacrifices to get your dream body. And I can assure you that the sacrifices will be worth it. You need to get enough sleep, and also you need to stretch. You need to stretch, you need to stay hydrated, you need to foam roll if you have access to a foam roller. You need to make sure that you're taking good care of yourself because that is what will allow you to continue lifting, which is what will allow you to build your dream body, because you're not going to build your dream body in 1 year. If you can build your dream body in 1 year, either A, you've already made a lot of progress and you really don't even need to be watching this video, or B, you need to dream bigger. You need to aim a little bit higher, because your dream body is something that should not be attainable within a 12-month period. Assuming that you're dialed in with everything, you should be able to attain your dream body somewhere in the next 3 to 5 years, give or take, depending on where your starting point is right now. If you start today and you implement all of these principles that I've divulged throughout this video, you should be able to build your dream body within a 3 to 5 year period, give or take, also depending on your genetics. Now, the next thing that you need to know about building your dream body is you need to get enough volume. So not only do you need to progressively overload and pick the right exercises, track your protein and your calories, and prioritize your rest and recovery so that you can continue lifting without having to take extended breaks because of injuries, but you also need to get enough volume. How much volume do you need? Conventional wisdom says that you need around 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week in order to see growth. So in conjunction with the progressive overload and exercise selection and everything else that I've said in this video, you need to make sure that you are getting 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week. So what does this look like? This means that for your back, you need to get 10 to 20 sets per week. How you choose to do that is up to you. Some people will have a specific back day, one back day a week, where they get all of their sets in. I personally wouldn't recommend that because the quality of your sets is going to drop substantially by the end of your workout. Whereas if you split that up into 2 or 3 days where you hit back, then you'll be able to get high quality sets. So I would actually add the stipulation that those 10 to 20 sets need to be hard sets if you want to grow. So it's not just getting 10 to 20 sets overall. It's 10 to 20 hard, challenging, intense sets where you are pushing your body very, very close to failure in the hypertrophy rep range, which is generally regarded as 6 to 15 reps. So pick a weight that allows you to hit failure, meaning you can't do another rep without taking at least 10 to 20 seconds of rest, where you hit failure within that 6 to 15 rep range. And if you do that, and you do that for enough sets per week, and you track your calories and your protein, you prioritize your rest and recovery, you pick the right exercises, I can literally guarantee you that you will build your dream body. If you've made it this far into the video, then clearly you're looking to transform your life, whether that's your health, your finances, your love life, or your mindset. And transformation is much easier when you have a trustworthy person to hold your hand through the entire process. And that's why I'm proud to announce the pre-sale for my new coaching program. No, it's not some $997 course that promises to help you make $10,000 a month in 30 days. But it is all of my knowledge from 6 years of self-improvement in one convenient place. It is a brotherhood of young men like yourself who are looking to level up. It is a place where you can receive direct advice from me and learn all of my lessons with none of my losses. And if you join now, you can lock in the current price of $57 forever. Because once I officially launch it, the price is going up significantly. No, this isn't some fake scarcity marketing tactic. I'm actually increasing the price once it launches. That way, we won't have too many members causing chaos like in my old Discord server. If you know, you know. So if that sounds even remotely interesting to you, click the link in the description and join now.